Hi guys, Evgeny Kim with you, Tech Meetups, and today we have a special guest, and he's my friend, Rodion Lyayfer. He's a technical product manager at company Zillow. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and your story.
Okay, yeah. As Evgeny mentioned, I'm a technical product manager at Zillow. It's been more than a year already in this company, and yeah, I love it. Love the position, love the job, the company. Before that, I've been data engineer for many years. So yeah, at some point transitioned. That was a relatively smooth transition as I was started managing teams of engineers and kind of getting more and more experience into PM role.
Mhm.
So and then at some point
That's very
just
interesting.
converted.
That's very interesting. Rodi, can you tell like maybe a little bit more details for how long you've been data engineer and like what made you to move forward to PM, or like what was this trigger?
Sure, yeah. So I've been data engineer for a total of, I believe, maybe 7 years.
Hmm.
And I started from the very beginning, just learning basics as a junior data engineer, then being promoted multiple times. And at some point, the opportunity came up to have an offshore team. So I was working for a consulting company, and
Hmm.
I was in US, and I had an offshore team in a different country. So I started small. I think I had maybe 3 people or something. And then I changed projects, and I was leading up to 8 people. And as I was working, I was a designated person of the team in the on the customer side here in US. And I don't know, somehow naturally, I was responsible for the team. I did a lot of coordination, and I had a TPM in my team here in US, but I was always trying to offload some work from his shoulders, and he was happy about it. So I think that's how I gathered more experience and more proved that, yeah, this is something I want to do. Funny thing though is when I actually became TPM, like on the paper, and
Hmm.
like fully transitioned, I realized that what I saw as TPM was like just the tip of the iceberg, and that TPM work was much more and much more appreciated after that.
After all, can you describe what are you doing as a TPM? Like what exactly you're doing on the daily basis?
Sure, yeah, and I want to, before going into details, I want to say that in each company, TPM role may slightly look different. And I'm a technical product managers. There are just product managers. There are project managers, technical project managers, and from what I saw, yeah, company to company, different responsibilities, different expectations. In my case, I would say it's something in between project management and product management. So on daily basis, I have a team, dedicated team that I'm working with, and we have a process that we're building. So I'm having daily stand-ups with them. I have sprint planning where we decide what we're going to do in the upcoming sprint, which is 2 weeks in our case. Just helping them out with any like day-to-day things they need in case they're blocked for some reason, in case there's any coordination needed between our team and other teams. So this is one piece of the work. And I would say that's what I started. As I learned more, get more context, um, I started working with other teams much more.
Hmm.
And I would say today I may have 1 or 2 meetings with my team, and then maybe 6 more meetings with totally different teams. And that can be just one to another team coordination, or it can be discussion among like let's say entire pipeline. And
Hmm.
as I'm working in data, that would be data pipeline. So which may include 10 teams, and you can help them with questions regarding what your team is doing or general design and architecture, whether it's technical or product design.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Got it. But right now you're working at Zillow, but you became as a TPM at previous company, right? Or like on another company.
Yeah, so at previous company, I got into technical project management, but
Mm-hmm.
still it was much more of just team coordination, and
Mm-hmm.
it called it delivery manager back in this company. So basically, again, as I was sitting in US office for the customer, and I had maybe 5 different offshore teams that I was kind of responsible for. I didn't work with them day to day. I was working with them maybe on a weekly basis, just with the leads from this team,
Mm-hmm.
checking in on status and helping out with any escalations that are happening from customer side or from our side. So I would say, yeah, that was just a tiny crack of what I'm doing right now as a like full-time TPM.
Full-time TPM. So that's my another question. Like, what's the difference between project management and product management? Because I saw in different, I've been in 6 companies and we had end product and project. They kind of cross-functioning in their responsibilities, but from my opinion, there's no such like straight line between project and product. What do you think?
Yeah, so again, this depends on a different company. I would say in general, project is probably about planning, executing, planning resources, putting everything on schedule, making sure things are being worked on. Product, I feel it's more about developing your existing product, enhancing it, or coming up with new products, figuring out what is important, what is not important. So yeah, actually, those are 2 different things. It's just that in a lot of cases, the responsibilities are kind of intersects, and the expectation is that you're a product manager, but you're still doing some of the project work. You're still Scrum Master, and maybe in some more tech-oriented companies, maybe they even expect from product people to, dig in the code and do something. So for example, in my case, it is, since again, I'm a technical product manager, so there's expectation of technical background. And yeah, I still use SQL every day. I'm querying our databases, I'm finding some data, I'm investigating data issues, things like that. Um, so yeah, there is a difference.
Awesome.
Does that make
Awesome.
sense?
Yeah, totally makes sense. Um, what's the most challenging at your work? What you can, what you can say?
The most challenging, I would say, it's for the big projects, which involve many different teams. I'm not talking about like 2 different teams or 3. I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about when there are like 5 or 10 different teams or even more. It's challenging to coordinate everything, make sure everyone on the same page. And what I found challenging is to explain to people like what exactly you mean, because you have your background, you have your context, and even though you're trying not to assume that people know stuff, there are still things that are like slipping through the cracks, where things, people don't know things, then someone is making a decision, and which should not be made that way. So I would say this coordination across multiple teams is the biggest issue. I would say working out with different personalities might be an issue. I was blessed that, I don't know, I would say the culture at Zillow is great, and probably that is embedded in the interview process. So I really feel that I'm working with really nice people all the time, and people are actually trying to help out. But I'm pretty sure it's not always the case in each and every company.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the challenge as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Very interesting. Um, so another question, like, what are you enjoying the most being as a TPM?
Yeah, what I like the most is first the amount of interaction with
Hmm.
different people. I love communication. I love meeting new people and making an impact for a bigger group. So in a lot of cases when you're a software engineer, um, you're focusing on a smaller things. Yeah, probably when you're a solution architect or principal engineer, you're making much bigger decision, and I think you're getting involved more, and especially as you're going into dev manager. But as I've been an engineer, I haven't been at this level, and it's still most of the things it was me, my team, and maybe just the teams next to us.
Hmm.
Here as TPM, yeah, you're working with so many different people, and you're not only working with software engineers, you're working with business people, you're working with legal people, you're working with third-party people. So that's huge. Not everyone likes it. I don't know. For some reason, I enjoy it. I'm pretty sure most people on my team can't share same feelings, but they happy that I'm there doing this part, and I'm happy they here doing their part.
Awesome. Awesome. So smoothly, let's talk about the interview process. Can you describe how was the interview process? What was the most challenging part? Uh, kind of these things.
Yeah, so for the interview process, I would say as as you start interviewing, it's challenging. As you're interviewing more, you're getting more and more confident. So I'm pretty sure if you'll ask people who are working on for some like top employees or some cool, sexy companies, like everyone will tell you the same, that you need to go for the interviews, even for the companies you don't even plan to accept an offer for, just to get the experience and just to stay sharp. So yeah, it's just I remember my very first interview, and like the last time I changed it up. My very first interview, it was so hard. It was like so intimidating. And the last interviews I went, even if you're failing them, you're you're like failing them with confidence.
So you're not regretting that much, or you're not stressing that much as you
I
probably,
would say so.
right?
Yeah, I would say so. You just
Yeah. You
everything
just get
feels,
used to it. You just get
yeah,
used to it.
everything feels so natural. And yeah, a lot of questions, I mean, the type of questions, they will be same. And even though you can prepare for them, just reading up in the internet, coming up with answers to these questions, for me, it was still much harder to answer them in the beginning and then answer same questions. They were not different. Answering same questions like at the end was so much easier. You have these answers and you're like, oh, okay, I know what you're asking me. Okay,
Mhm.
I'll share this information. So yeah, I would say build this confidence, just going out there, having the experience. And different companies provide different interviews. So some will, I don't know, have maybe 2 3 hours with you. Some companies will do all the full cycle, multiple phone screenings, then on-site interview, or I don't know if they do on-site right now with COVID, but like full day interview. So yeah, it depends. Some companies will call you in for the full day interview, and then in the middle of the day they will say, okay, no, this doesn't work, you have half day back.
Right.
Just go
So,
out, enjoy.
mhm. So I got from like our conversation that you got into your current company not from the first time, right? Can you tell how many times you failed, probably, or like you went through the different companies, the interview from with different companies before you actually land your current job?
Talking about like interviews, there are multiple steps when you go through the interviews. So there's the very initial step when you contact the company or company is reaching out to you directly. There is a phone screening where you'll just describe your experience. They will tell more about the job and the company, and then they'll decide if they, and you as well, if you want to move forward or not. Then from what I saw, usually there will be a phone interview with whether you're like future manager or someone else who is doing this specific phone screenings in the company for these roles. Maybe he's not related to your team, or maybe he is someone from your team. And after that, usually if it goes well, then they will call you up for on-site interview. With the COVID, I don't know if anyone is doing on-site interviews right now. Probably all interviews are virtual, maybe except for Tesla and SpaceX. I know these folks are coming to office no matter what. And yeah, then this on-site interview, it may be a couple of hours, it may be entire day, and people all over the organization may ask you questions. So that may be your manager, dev managers from different teams, other TPMs. I would say it depends on the size of the company. So for example, I was talking to a startup at some point, and yeah, I had interviews with all the CEO, CIO, CTO, because there was like 35 people in the company.
Mm-hmm.
And not entire company was like IT department. So even out of them, it's smaller size, right?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that's how the interviews is structured. And yeah, you were asking me at which point I was getting accepted. I would say it took me maybe around 3 months to get an offer that I accepted. So with the very first company, I did the on-site interview. I would say everything went well. Folks were happy with my experience and background, but I think I was just greedy and asked for too much money. But the thing is that I didn't want to work for this company that much, but I thought, okay, if they can give me that money, yeah, I will agree.
Basically, it was fair. Yep.
Yeah, fair game. So yeah, then there were a couple of fails and some successes. So yeah, probably that's about it. But I know that people are preparing for the interviews. Some can be preparing for like really long time. I know people who did like 1 year of interviews. They will go here and there, but they were dedicated to get accepted at a very specific company. So that's why they put so much effort and time into preparing. Yeah, that's kind of how the interviews go and what is happening there.
Okay. But after all, like, how many companies you had? How many companies you had the interview with? Like,
Yeah, so let's probably count just the ones that get to the on-site, because like the small interviews, they're just here and there, right?
right.
So okay, let me think. So there was one company, there was another one, then there was this one, maybe 4 companies. I don't know, 3 or 4, I don't remember.
Got it. So basically, it's about almost 1.5 company in a month, right? Besides the phone screenings and all these things.
Yeah, it was spread across. At some point, it was packed, and then I had to push one company about the offer because I was given traction at another company, and I wanted to know what's going on. But from the like strategy of how you do that, I know a lot of my friends who changed jobs. Yeah, they will try to interview around the same time. They will communicate their timeline to make a decision, so by the moment they will be given an offer, and they will have enough time to reconsider, that they will have as many offers as they can at the same time so that they can negotiate.
Okay, I see. Interesting. Let's talk about transitioning. Like, what would you advise for people who is actually right now in other field, like maybe developers, like you've been before, or like data scientists? Actually, that would be more accurate, or like QA or whatsoever, and they decided to go like, okay, I would like to try, or I would like to become a product manager or technical product manager. Can you give advice here?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first advice from what I saw when I was applying to different companies to PM roles, in a lot of cases, people would say, we can't take software engineer for a PM role.
Mm-hmm.
They said that, yeah, we can take you as a software engineer, and then within some time you can grow into a PM role, but we will not hire someone outside without a basically PM title.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what they're saying. And I would say I'm seeing the same about data engineering roles. Right? They're saying, okay, if there was no people you manage directly, we will not hire because we expect like 3 years of having direct reports, for example. So yeah, that is a thing to consider, that this transition, it's not easy to get into, I would say. So based on it, I would suggest try to get as many opportunities as you have in your current company to gain some experience. And I would say just speak up, talk to your manager, tell him or her that, yeah, that's what you want to do. Maybe there is some opportunity on your project. Maybe there is some smaller piece of the project that you can take and say that, okay, I own this piece of the puzzle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I will work with other teams, I will work with other stakeholders to figure everything out. And yeah, this will give you experience. Probably having this, it will be easier for you to transition. And again, if you want to transition faster, I would say, yeah, growing within your company, if there is an opportunity for it, yeah, I would say do that.
Cool, cool. Did you take any courses besides that?
Yeah, I was in my previous company, I was in internal program called Introduction to Management.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't PM oriented at all. It was purely project management and maybe some sort of engineering management. Um, I don't know, was it useful or not? Maybe it was useful like for the first month after you graduate from this program, but then if you're not using it, you forget everything, right? So by the moment I started interviewing for PM jobs, I had to, gain the knowledge again. So I didn't take any courses. I would highly recommend learning the book Cracking PM Interview,
Mm-hmm.
because in a lot of cases, yeah, that's what people will ask you. And the very first time I read this book, first of all, I got an understanding who PM is. I mean, product manager, because I had no idea, literally. Yeah. I thought that product manager is same as project manager. And after reading this book, like I had an impression that product manager is an entrepreneur, but just on a smaller scale, like within his product. So yeah, great book. And it gives you examples of what you will be asked on the interview. This is one thing, and then it gives you techniques how to answer these questions. So it's interesting how you should not just answer what you think, but yeah, they explain how you should answer questions,
Mm-hmm.
how
Mm-hmm.
to think through these questions, and how to structure your answer. So yeah, definitely must read. I thought every time I flew out for an on-site interview, on my flight, I was reading this book. Just I
Awesome.
highlighted some notes and I was just reading through the notes that I've made, just to refresh my memory. But yeah, that's definitely a
Awesome.
must have.
We'll put the book link in the description. What do you think about the certification? Is it worth it to get it, or like what do you think?
Yeah, so I've been thinking a lot of getting some certificates, whether when I was a software engineer to get some, I don't know, Microsoft certificates or AWS certificates later. And of course, I thought of Scrum Master, PMP. I don't know. So I saw on multiple occasions where people are saying, yeah, that's preferred if you have like PMP certificate, for example, for PM job or project or product management job. I personally didn't go through these certifications. At some point of my life, I tried to read kind of a master book for project management called PM book. I'm pretty sure every person in project management knows this book. I don't know. I read maybe a third of it, was not able to go through it entirely. It was boring. Cracking
Yeah,
PM interview is fun book. You enjoy reading it. PM book is boring.
I love
Okay,
it.
my personal opinion.
I love it. No, no, no. That's really good input.
So yeah, certification wise, yeah, it's hard for me to give advice. I don't want to say that okay, they are useless and then a person will get rejected because he didn't have certification. It's just in my career, there was no, there was no must have for these certificates.
Hmm.
So I didn't have certificates and yeah, I got engineering job, then I got PM job. Maybe if I would have them, maybe the journey would have been easier for me. I don't know. I have just one thing I know. A friend of mine, he's also PM. So he completed the PMP certification and he said that this is a useless crap.
Love it.
But it's again, that's personal opinion and yeah.
No,
So
that's perfect. That's perfect.
everyone say you need to invest in yourself. You need to educate
Totally.
yourself, and I agree. It just I don't know if like one specific certification applies to what people are looking for. And of course, it is not a silver bullet, right? If you got certification, if you got through the course, but on the interview, if you can't make, provide any good answers, certificate will not help you, I think.
Awesome, awesome. I love it. All right, Rodion. I that was really interesting and very useful conversation. I got a lot of input from that output. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna hold you anymore. I know that right now you're in Hawaii.
Yeah, I am, dude. I
Yeah,
am.
and this guy, he's working remotely, living in Hawaii, and you're going to the ocean right now,
Yeah,
right?
actually, yeah, as we're wrapping up, I will put my swimsuit on. I will take my kids. We'll cross the street. We'll walk in the ocean. That is
Awesome,
priceless.
awesome. Charles. All right.
All right, man. Yeah, it was great talking to you. For everyone who's gonna listen to this recording, I hope you guys find it useful. And yeah, feel free to reach out with your questions.
Totally. Thank you. All right. See you later.
All right. Bye.